Welcome back again. The videos are coming thick and fast at the moment because I've got so much to cover. So I'm back out in the garage, a couple of days since my last video, or at least I'm recording it a couple of days since my last video. Obviously, we're still working on the white car at the moment because the new car's not here yet, etc, etc. I already told that in the last video. If you didn't see the last video, go back and watch it. So today's, basically what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to take the rear brace out of this. This car doesn't need it anymore. I've managed to track down a sporting rear bench. So I'm going to put the rear seat back in and the red seat belts back in there as well. I'm kind of trying to get away from that red and black colour scheme. I'm not really into it. With this white car, I'm kind of going for more of a white, yellow, pink and grey, like the worn out racing colours, but very small hints. I like tiny hints of colour coding, nothing too nuts. So I'm going to take that out. I'm still putting the 500R bath interior up for sale. Again, I did originally put it up for swaps, but I've actually managed to sort some seats and stuff, I think. And I've sold the bath wheel. For those of you who don't know, it's an optional extra wheel straight from Fiat. They did one for the Cinquecento. They did one for the Cinquecento as well. Slightly different design. I've had a few of them pass through my hands over the years. I may regret it one day when they're worth a load of money, but I flogged it. So I'm going to take it off. I will show you it in case you're interested because they don't come up very often. I'm going to send it to a guy in the UK. We're sorting the payment stuff out and I have found a very nice wheel. I do have an OMP wheel on the wall, but some complete plum, if you're watching this, you're a plum, and I'm assuming you aren't watching it, sent me an absolute bananaed one. Paid like £40 for it with a hub. Came, it is cactus. There's no way they didn't know that was broke. So I can't use it. But I found an Italian wheel, thanks to my mate Duncan, put me onto a very well priced Italian wheel that looks just like I need for the car, which I'll show you when it turns up. So I just literally ordered it about 30 seconds before I came onto this video. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to pull this wheel out and I'm going to come and show you what it looks like. Now remember kids, never fit a bent wheel to your car unless you want to make it to heaven a little bit sooner than normal, because this wouldn't stand up to anything. I'm not even sure it's a real OMP. But seeing as I have zero wheel on here and I might need to move it backwards or forwards or steer it at some point, I'm going to chuck the old Momo on here. Oh, sorry, the OMP on here with a couple of bolts just in case. But otherwise, if you see this in the back of any of the videos, don't think I've lost my mind. It is just temporary. And next up is taking this bad boy out. Now, you'll have to just take my word for this, and other people might disagree, but I will say I've fitted this now to a couple of different Fiat Cinquecentos, and the last time I fitted it, and I went on a track day, I genuinely noticed the difference. It really does stiffen up the rear end of the car, even just a little bit, but I noticed it for sure, especially with upgraded springs and shocks on the back. I guess that puts a little bit more flex on the shower, but either way, definitely get one if you don't need rear seats. And that, as they say, is that. Nice easy job. Now I will say this thing isn't insubstantial. Like that is, that is a big heavy piece of metal really, but it won't be as heavy as even the Cinquecento seat back because they're really heavy as well. So all right, you're removing weight, adding weight back in, but obviously this isn't doing anything for you other than somewhere to sit. This should strengthen your chassis up. Nice easy job. There's a few people that usually have these up for sale, so if you can get one, you've got a bit of a track focus Cinquecento, knock yourself out. Now I am thinking there's bound to be some people that would want to put 500 seats in their car. I didn't fit these, but I am going to show you, hopefully, roughly what's involved, because it's actually quite a nice conversion. I think it suits Cinquecento better. I think they're a bit too new for this style car, but we'll have a little look. I will say, as much as I don't think they suit the car, these are crazy comfy, and you still keep the original like 500 bit where they tilt forward and then slide. So the back is nice and easy. Now, I'm not going to get a very good run at this, because it's dark in my garage in this when you're on the inside. But what I have noticed, if I can spin the camera around, if you see here where they bolt just there, that's actually the original Cinquecento seat bottom. So I'm just trying to figure out, if I try not to blind myself, how they've actually managed to fix that onto the car, because I can't be entirely certain. Either way, somehow they've managed to fit the original Cinquecento bracket onto the Fiat 500 bit. Now I'm fairly certain when I saw this on an old post, you actually unbolt the original 500 seat bracket, which is like one long bar that goes along the full length of the seat, and then you kind of go from there. So yeah, I'm not really sure, but either way, so you'll definitely need the original brackets off your old seat. Now the one thing that I do know for sure is you will see here, excuse a little bit of surface rust, where the original bottom brake bolts onto here, you need literally just a flat bar that bolts to the 500 back and then bolts to this. I've literally, it's about, I don't know, 3 inches long, and it's got a hole in the top, hole in the bottom. Dead easy. The other thing you're going to need is this is where the original seat latch is. Try not to make it too bright. That's where the original seat latches bolt. So obviously when you actually tip the seat back, it clicks in. the Cinquecento ones won't work, but I am led to believe, by one of my fellow group members, that you can get the Fiat 500 seat latch, which is just basically like a bracket with a kind of U-bolt, U-shape on it. And I think it fits. I think it bolts up and you can use that instead. So it's actually pretty easy. Now, as for the back seats, I am clueless, but I believe it is very straightforward. In fact, I don't think there's even any welding or anything needed. I think it's just drilling a couple of extra holes, or maybe changing the hole size a little bit, and then the original seat brackets bolt up to the bottom runners. It really is an easy conversion, and it just goes to show there is a lot of stuff that is still fairly similar between the old Cinquecento and the new 500. Things like, even like the gearboxes and stuff aren't that different. Diffs fit. You've heard me say this before, or you haven't if you're new. But don't underestimate how much stuff you can nick from a new 500 for your old beast. Right, that's everything for the inside for now. There is maybe one other little bit of colour coding I'm going to get rid of while I'm in there in a minute, but that's neither here nor there. We'll worry about that in a minute. But obviously, while I'm waiting for the 500 interior to sell, when it does go, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I'm probably going to fit my Sparco bucket seat for now. This car is not destined to have a bucket seat in it. As I mentioned, it's going to have a more normal interior in there. Which I've actually now had a slight change of plan and found something absolutely mint, which hopefully I'll get in the coming weeks, and I'll get that in there. It's going to look great. But for now, I'm probably going to run this bucket seat. I don't know how it's going to go. I mean, if I'm cruising around normal roads on it, it's probably going to be terrible, which is why I'm sort of thinking about turning this memory foam, like special orthopedic pillow thing, getting it cut down and covered and using it as like an extra cushion for it. See how that goes, just to make it a little bit more comfortable for day to day. It shouldn't need to be in there very long, but we'll worry about that later. Obviously, I've got to wait for the interior to sell first. But while it's in here, I'm just going to quickly pop the bonnet. I've got some Magnacore HT leads I'm putting back on that were on there before. Not a massive fan of their red, but we're getting rid of some of the rest of the colour codings. That's not an issue. And there's a few wires and a few pipes, vacuum hoses that are all random colours and bits and bobs. I'm going to work my way through it, try and tidy them up, make it look a little bit better. All with the intention of making this car a little bit more of a cohesive colour and just not looking quite so thrown together, because that's what it looks like. So let's crack on. By the way, anybody else who these buttons annoy, don't worry. I'm going to be getting some lockable aero star catches soon. Again, I appreciate this car is supposed to be more of a road going version. That doesn't mean you can't have that slight racer vibe. And the bonnet comes up on it so often, it'd be cool just to be able to just go like, unlock them, pop the bonnet, everyone's happy. And this is what I'm talking about. Fundamentally, at least if you look at it from back here, it doesn't look too bad. Now, obviously, when I got this, there were a lot of these pipes and stuff that were all red and white, and a lot of this was painted red and white. The ECU was painted red and white, so again, that's why a lot of it's just got stickers on it. But there's things like this that kind of bug me. This is an old vacuum hose I had kicking about. This is like another piece of vacuum hose, just blocking this one off. So I think I'm probably going to either order or make a proper little blank for this. I'm going to get some black vacuum hose for this. You will notice this random wire. When I had my running problems, I thought it was a bad earth, so I ran an earth straight to the coil pack with some old audio wire I had. It's not needed anymore because I've worked out my problem, so that's going to go. There's a few things where I've kind of ran the wire, and then afterwards I thought I probably could have done that slightly better than it is. So I'll kind of go through that as well. And again, I'm not entirely certain what to do with it, but I hate this, and I don't like this, and I don't like this. But I also don't want to have to go out and buy a new piece of silicone hose and stuff. So I'm going to have a look, see if I've got anything kicking around. If not, I may just get some kind of tape, like a silicone tape or something. I don't know if that's going to be janky, but I just kind of want it all black or pink or white or something that goes with some of the rest of the colour coding. Right, basically a day has passed and my wheel's already turned up. I actually don't know how they've managed to package and send this out so quickly, because the box turned up and I was like, what have I, oh my God, it's my wheel. So I'm going to flip it around. I'm going to show you. It's dead simple. It's a nice, simple design, but I think it's going to work. Sweet. Now check this out. Now it's by a brand called Loisi. Now this is very tidy. Now, this is going to be very hard to do one-handed. 1 second. Check it out. It's about as simple as it comes. I'm going to let you in on a little secret here. This was £65 brand new. It's made in Italy. It is a good quality wheel. The reason it's cheap is because this is rubber. So it's not a leather or vinyl clad wheels, it was a lot easier to make. It's a little on the weighty side, I'm not going to lie, but you know, this car's not about weight savings. But I think that, with the little silver horn push in the middle, is just the simple thing that my car needs, and I think that is going to look wicked. And I've got to be honest with you, it actually feels nice. It feels real sturdy and chunky. It's not very dished, admittedly. I wish it was a little bit more dished than that, but meh. The boss actually pushed it further back. But now I can pull that bent wheel out that was been in there for all of 24 hours and put the new one in. And here she is, and I got very lucky because it wasn't until after I bought this that I don't know why I didn't even think to check, but Duncan pointed out that it doesn't have the normal OMP like stud pan, call it whatever you will, but my boss is drilled for both. So happy days. Now I have to say, with this on the car, not only is it slightly smaller than the Abarth one, but this rubber coating on it is amazing. Like, it feels really good. Like, I could go to a track day without any gloves, none of that, and no matter what the weather is like, this can be grippy, and it feels proper solid. Like, the wheel doesn't move at all. It's actually the steering rack that actually bumps. So now what I need to do is to finish it off, and I wasn't too sure on this yet. I mean, maybe I will go for a coloured one at some point, but the one they send you, the horn push, is actually nice quality. So I'm going to stick it in there and see how it looks. It might need to be something different, maybe yellow or something like that, but we'll see. We'll chuck it in. My horn doesn't currently work because it's not actually plugged in the other end, but that's not such a bad thing because we'll worry about that later on. But otherwise, I could not be happier. If you want a budget wheel, check out Loisi, and they do leather and Alcantara and all that jazz as well. So win all round. Well, Loisi, you've let me down. Unless there's a little ring somewhere to keep you in. Before I cuss them down too bad, I'm going to go check out what the deal is with this, because up to this point, the quality has been amazing. So I can't really figure out why they would sell a wheel where the horn push doesn't stay in the middle of the wheel. That doesn't make no sense whatsoever. So I'm going to go poke around for a minute and see if it's something I'm doing wrong, or whether I've been sold a duff button. Well, in the end, I genuinely can't see anything wrong with it. I don't know why it wouldn't just clip in like normal. I know my OMP horn button, they've got the metal, like, little retaining clip in there, the little springy clip. I will see, I've got an old horn push I'm going to throw away anyway. I'll see if that metal clip fits it. But otherwise, I've done what I do best, and that is coming up with an alternative method of fixing it. Not a bodge, an alternative method. And it's this rubbery tape stuff. You see me use it the other day on something. I literally just put one tiny little ring around the inside of the button, and it's worked a treat. And check this. Boom. I said, it doesn't move at all. It was just literally seemed like it was just that tiny little bit. I don't know if the little plastic retainers on the inside of here weren't good enough. But either way, solid as a rock and one more job done. See, tell me that doesn't look better. Or at least in my humble opinion anyway. A little bit more red to get rid of. And we are slowly getting there. A little bit plain at the moment, don't you worry. There's going to be a little bit of colour coming soon. I almost forgot. Never waste a free sticker, people. Especially not one that's semi-cool like this one. No, all being well, I'm doing this with one hand here. See if this is going to go to plan. All good so far. Bam! You've joined the club, Loisi. And I will point out, I'm not Italian. I don't speak Italian. So if I'm pronouncing Loisi wrong, I'm sorry. I'm sure my Italian friend is going to tell me exactly how to say it. Isn't that right, Claudio? Right, there's no stopping. We're going to go straight back into the engine bay now, and I've already started doing a little bit of work because this bit's boring. You don't need to see this. You just want to see the before and after shots so you can see the improvement, so to speak. So nothing major. This is the last thing to do before I'm probably going to spin this bad boy around and get it out and get started on some other stuff that I need to do. So yeah, take a look. So again, only a tiny change so far. I've got rid of that wire from the coil because obviously that wasn't needed. I've replaced this very janky blanking plate. I will still buy a proper one of these at some point, but this little pipe has now been replaced with one small black pipe, which I've actually filled with hot glue. Is anyone getting the impression I seem to fix everything with hot glue and tape? I promise it's not the case. It just feels like sometimes when I tell you these things, but you know, there's nothing wrong. It's worn out racing. It's all about doing things on a budget and doing them properly on a budget. So you can still fix things without spending vast amounts of money. I mean, those blanking plugs are probably like, I don't know, £5, but you can just make your own one if you want. So yeah, anyway, stop waffling. Next thing to do is, I said my brother-in-law says he thinks he's got some of this left over from fitting a dump valve to his Evo. So we're getting that fitted on there in a minute. And I'm going to try and get the spark plugs tidied up and the new Magnacore ones fitted from the power of YouTube magic. I'm not even going to click my fingers or anything. I'm better than that. So we're just going to do it. Done. And look, I know I'm not really going to expect any performance gains and stuff from this, but I mean, we can't go wrong really. High performance leads, they root nicer, they're exactly the length you need, they're going to last the life of the car almost certainly, and it won't hurt having them. Plus, they come with little clippies. Who doesn't like little clippies to tidy things up? Now we just got this last monstrosity to get rid of. Wow, it turns out my parts haul is coming in clutch again, because all right, I haven't got as much stuff as I used to do, but I've got some useful bits, so I can finally get rid of this in the engine bay. It's this lovely bit of white silicone, but I mean, I'll keep it for something because you never know, it'll come in handy. And I've got me some of this, and it's a bit overkill, I will say, but it's a relic from my old turbo build. So this is that bad boy metal braided cotton covered high pressure fuel line that ended up being the wrong size, so it got mixed up between AN fittings and some other jazz. But at least at the moment, it looks like it's perfect to fit on there. So instead of having this white piece running from that, I'm going to get me a nice little piece of braided line going on there instead. Snazzy, huh? Perfect. Worked out a treat. Now, I don't know about you, but I've had enough staring at this engine bay for now. You'll have to take my word for it. I'm going to replace this vacuum hose as soon as my man Dave comes up with the goods. Otherwise, I'm going to throw the bonnet down and get this bad boy out of the garage where it belongs, back out on the street, so I can progress with some other preparations. And once again, thank you again for stopping by for what has been a very simplistic few episodes recently, but it seems to be going down pretty well. You like the progress on the Lemon, especially because everything I do to this car gets me one step closer to telling you what my new one's going to be. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep on coming up with the little ideas. I've got a few more little bits to buy. I'm really hoping someone buys the Abarth seats at the moment. No interest at all, surprisingly enough, given it's a ready-made set of chairs to go in your Cinquecento or Seicento, so hit me up if you want to buy them. Otherwise, keep an eye out. I'm going to be back pretty soon with some more stuff. So stop on by and I will see you soon.